Welcome back to Real Sports Live. Last week, the Utah Royals named just their second head coach in franchise history, and he happens to be here with us tonight.
Yeah, Craig Harrington is joining us. Craig, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on the job. It didn't look like the Royals were in the market for a new head coach, but Laura Harvey leaves. Why were you interested in this position?
Why was I interested? I was interested really because of how big the club is, the scope of this, the ambition, the players they have, and obviously what they've ultimately nearly done in the league itself, making the playoffs so close. So that was something that attracted me to the job.
Now, you've coached in the NWSL. You're with the Chicago Red Stars. In fact, you were here for the very first Utah Royals game back in 2018. Were you struck by the atmosphere at Rio Tinto Stadium?
Unbelievable. The place was full. We had flyovers, had the anthem. I know they flew all the players' families in, and that was in. We just felt a part of the whole event. Ultimately, we sold it to our group. It was better to crash a party than host a party, and that's ultimately what they did.
Yeah, they did. They did.
This is your first gig as a head coach, correct?
Yes.
What's going to be your stamp on this team?
I think ultimately my stamp's going to be about just trying to make what Laura had in place with the DNA of the team and try and explore that in a way that we can then use the strengths of the group to hopefully score a few more goals than they've done in the past, keep that defensive nature of the group, and then hopefully a few more wins, but we want to make the playoffs. But I think it's a culture more about hard work. There's a great quote that I think that someone said recently is about, can we be the best at everything else that doesn't require a lot of talent? So hopefully we can do that.
And I'm trying to guess from his accent, Draper? Sandy, West Jordan,
yes.
where are you from originally?
So England originally.
Oh, England.
England originally.
I thought it was Utah somewhere.
Yeah,
okay.
Been in the States forever, it seems. Met my wife, she's American.
Okay.
Yeah, lived in California 12 years, lived in Florida, lived in Chicago.
Now you've coached men's teams. You were with Turks and Caicos, right? The international team, and helped them achieve some success. You've coached men and women before in the NWSL. Is there a difference, or is soccer?
There is a difference, but ultimately I treat them exactly the same.
Yeah.
And again, there's just difference because of different personalities, there's different things. It's just a whole different world that they live in, and you have to understand that socially. But ultimately the game's still NB11. I try not to differentiate the actual coaching, but I think ultimately there's still some, and that's why I enjoy the women's game. You can actually, I think there's a lot more personality about the players.
You talked about hard work.
Yep.
But are you a coach that believes in high-scoring offense, or sit back and defense, control the ball? What are we going to look for?
Great question. I think without any coach in the world, you've got to defend. Like you want to keep a zero. But again, it's about scoring. It's about getting people off their feet. The game's about glory. It's about lifting trophies, and to do that, historically, the best teams always outscore the opposition.
Funny how that works,
It
right?
does. It's
More goals the better, right?
Sound cliche, but that, you know, we want to score goals, and we've got players. Amy, we've got Press, we've got Vero, we've got some ones we're going to add to this. We've got players all on the field that can score and attacking players, and that's what we want to be as a club.
Now you're a first-time head coach, but you do have some veterans to rely on. Kristen Press, Kelly O'Hara, Nicole Barnhart in goal. How much easier are they going to make your job? Because they have been assimilated with this organization and this culture for a number of years.
Really easy, and the main lap because they've got experience, what they bring to the table, and they're winners. They've won wherever they've been. They've won World Cups, they've won the NWSL, they've won Olympics, they've won at college level, they probably won and dominated at club level as well when they were growing up. But they're just winners ultimately, and you want those people in your locker room.
So you talk about the veterans, but Deloy Hansen, the owner, at the press conference said he wants to develop younger talent. So that's your job?
Yes, and we have that. And obviously this year with the club went out and drafted 8th in the draft, moved up to there. So we've got a lot of youth in the squad. And I think we're going to move away and start with the boys' academy. We'll start to have girls' academies, and we can start to foster those relationships. But again, that's the long-term vision that we want to have. But also we know, realistically, I know we have to win now as well. So I'll be relying on some of those veterans. They're not getting anywhere yet.
Now, you not only have NWSL experience, you have MLS experience, right? With the LA Galaxy, you helped them. I mean, are you going to mention that? Maybe I think we just outed you on TV here, but they're not the most well-liked club around these parts.
They're not anywhere. I don't think anywhere they go. I think they thrive off that as well, isn't it? You know, they've always had the superstars, but then they've also had the youth as well. So they've had that blend, and I think everyone gets lost in the big signings, but they always have the homegrown players, and they've always been, you know, RSLs, the Galaxies are always going to be main staples of the MLS.
Yeah, this team has gotten so close to the playoffs in its first 2 years of existence. Is that coming in as a first-year head coach? Is that the goal? Get to the playoffs? Got to get to that level.
The goal is always to win the championship.
Of course.
That is always the goal. You know, we're not going to sit down. I wouldn't be anybody in the locker room, but I think the 8 other teams in the league will start their first day of the season trying to do that goal. Obviously, North Carolina are the standard, and they won the league the last 3 years. They've won the actual championship the last 2 years. So Those ones you got to try and knock off right now. But we can only control what we can control.
Right.
Again, cliche, but it's just day by day, step by step, session by session, game by game.
This is a tough question, and I don't mean any disrespect, but has there been any backlash for a men's coach being hired in a women's sport? Because there's so few opportunities for women to coach. And then when
if there has, they haven't attacked me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I hear about it, and it is in our community. Right. I'm very conscious of myself. I've got 2 daughters. I've got a wife. I've got grandparents. I've got my mum. I'm very close to. We're trying to create that pathway myself. I'm going to have 2 full-time members on my staff that are female, both assistants, full-time assistants. And we'll hopefully announce that, I think, on Tuesday with the whole staff coming together. But again, it's about hopefully creating a pathway for them and what they can bring to the table, and then ultimately, again, veterans that we have in our locker room. How can we transition to using them maybe on our coaching staff at some points, or to move in the front office, or whatever their aspirations, careers that they want to achieve.
And you said you haven't been here long, but people are already recognizing you.
Yes. It's been interesting. I said I got pizza, got my hair cut. People, which is a good thing.
You kind of stand out in Utah, I gotta say.
Yeah, so
a tall bloke talking about soccer. Yeah, that's
awesome.
Craig Harrington.
It's awesome. I loved it.
Welcome to Utah. Good luck with the team. The season starts in April.
Yep, April 18th is the first league game.
All right, we have to take a quick break here on Real Sports Live. Coming up, we're going to go inside the Utah State basketball team with another look at the latest episode of Going Ag.